Watch as this landing page comes live. Welcome to my tutorial. I'm Jerry. In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to build this beautiful landing page using HTML and CSS. And in this landing page, we have some little features. So we have the logo, we have the nav links. So the nav links, when I hover on it, you discover a smooth transition under it. A smooth transition under it. So when we come to the CTA button and I hover on it, we discover another dark transition over it. So we are going to what? Learn how to do all this just with HTML and CSS. So grab your code editor now and let's dive straight into the code. Alright, so here is my HTML file now. So the first thing we're going to do is what? We're going to create. So we're going to what? Start coding. So the first thing we're going to do now is our main. So we have our main here. So our main here we have as our container that will carry all our elements, our content, navbar, and the rest of it. So now we're going to what? Use our header for our nav link. So we're going to have a div of class name logo. We're going to have logo. So we're going to have our nav. So we're going to have our unordered list. So these are unordered list. We're going to give it a class name of nav links. Nav links. So we're going to have our list and our anchor tag. So we're going to use hash because it's not going anywhere. So we're going to copy and paste. So we cannot be repeating code. So let's copy and paste. So we're going to change this one to what? To service. Let's use about me. About. So the next one we're going to use service. Service. And finally, we're going to use contact. Yes. So this is all we need for our navbar. So now we're going to style our navbar. So the first we're going to grab is our header. So let's go to our CSS. So remember I've linked my CSS file already to my HTML file. So now let's go to our CSS. So we have CSS and the first we are going to do is what? Our general styling. So when you use this hash, it's what? It's a general styling. It applies to all of your web page. So we're going to use a padding of 0, a margin of 0, and box sizing of border box. So the next thing we're going to style is our body. So our body we're going to give it a font family of sans serif. So now is the time to grab our what? Our header. So our header now we're going to say header. So I'm going to give it a position relative, a display flex, and let's see how it comes out. So here is it. So now let's get to know something. So before, let me comment of this. So let's see something. So this is how our code looks like formally. This is how it looks like. So when we add this general styling now, which is padding 0, margin 0, and we have box sizing, is what border box. So we will now discover that our content has shifted to the extreme edge, so towards our left hand side. So we have what styling. So we're going to proceed to our what body. So we have font family. We're going to use sans serif. So we're going to now style our header. So our header, we're going to give it a position relative. And we have a display of flex. So let's see how it is now. So did you see how it is now? So it has bring the logo and the nav links together. That's opposite each other. So now we are going to what? Separate them. These links we want it to go to our right hand side, and the logo we want it to remain at our left hand side. So to do that, we're going to use justify content of space between. That's what we're going to use. So let's see it now. Exactly. See how it looks like now. So it has separated and has gone opposite sideways. So we are going to see what styling, and we're going to give it a padding of 30 pixels. Padding of 30 pixels. So you see that it has shifted a little bit forward. That's what we want. So now the next thing we are going to do now is what? We're going to grab this very nav link here. We're going to grab it. So let's come back to our CSS, and we say dot nav link. We're going to still give it position of what? Of relative, and display flex. Let's see it now. Exactly. So they are now together. So we don't want it to be together. We want them to separate. So the home about service and contact should what have a gap in between them. So to do that, how do we do that? To do that, we're going to use our gap, and our gap, let's give it a 20 pixels. So when we come and check, exactly, it has separated. So now to me, I'll make it a 30 pixels. So the next thing we're going to do now is this dot, this blot dot, we don't want it to be there. And also this line under it, we don't want it to be there. Are we together? So now we're going to what? List style. So we're going to say none. Yes, the list styling has what? Has gone. Are we together? So, and before we proceed, we are going to give this our nav a color, a background color. Let's give it a background color of a gray. The background color will be gray. So let's check it out. Exactly. Can we see it now? So we're going to get rid of this line under it, under those links. So to do that, how do we do that? So we're going to say dot nav link A. This A represents our anchor tag. We're going to say text decoration. Decoration is what is none. Let's check it out. It has gone. Are we together? So now we're going to give it a color of white. Let's check it out. Exactly. This is exactly what we want. So now we're going to also give our logo a color. So we're going to give our logo a color. So let's say here we have our dot logo. So our logo will be color also white. Let's see our logo as well. Exactly. That's turned white. So but we want our logo, the font to increase. So we're going to say font size is let's give it one. So we'll give it a 2 rem. So let's try 2 rem and see how big it will be. So this is our 2 rem all together. So that is it. So we are going to reduce this padding. So this padding to me is too much. Let's say give it 20 pixels. Yes, it's okay. So our logo is a bit big now. So but we are going to increase. We are going to make the font width. We are going to make it what bolder. So this font we are going to use 700 for font width. And let's check it out exactly. So now the next thing we are going to do now is we are going to have a transition under these links. Now when we hover on it, we discover that there was some transition that was going on it. Are we together? So now let's do that quickly. So how do we achieve that? So to achieve the smooth transition, what we're going to do is what? We're going to use a pseudo element. We're going to say dot nav links hover dot a, which is our anchor link. Then after, then we're going to use the content. We're going to make use of display block. Then top 0. We're going to use left 0 and height. Let's give it a height of 2 pixels. Then let's give it a background color of white. So let's see how it looks like now. Exactly. So can we all see the line beneath it, under it? So, but that's not how we want it. So what are we going to do now? So we're supposed to include width here, which is let's put 100% and see. This is how it will look like 100%. But we don't want it, so we're going to get rid of this and then use 0 instead. So when we use 0 and we return back to it, we discover it disappeared. So how do we make it to come back? We're going to use dot nav dot nav link. So we're going to use anchor, which is when we hover on it, and then after it, when we hover after it, what happens next? So that's where we will now say a width of 100% and a transition of 0.5 seconds each in and out. Let's go back and see how it looks like exactly. So this is all we want. So now what we are going to do now is, since we have our web page already, so here is this now. So we are going to tie our web page now. So what we're going to do is what? Is tie the background. So we're going to use an image for the background. So how do we do that? First of all, we're going to grab this container here. So this is what we will use as our reference for our styling. So we're going to say, so now what we're going to do now is we're going to style it. So we have our web page here already. So we're going to insert a background image into it. So what we're going to do now is what? Is to what? To grab our container. So this is our reference page now. This container here. So this is what we're using here, our container. So we have the container. So we have position relative. So we have the background of URL. So we have a picture, I have an image already there. So I'll say background position is center, background repeat, I will say no repeat. Background size, I will say cover. So let's see our web page now. So the details how it looks like now. So we have an image inside there already, but it is not totally covered. So there's one thing we have not done, which is our height. So the moment we include our height, 100 people height. So let's get it now. Exactly. So this is what we want. So now we want an overlay, that overlay on this background. So we don't want it to be too visible. So we want it to be like a darker color on the surface. So how do we achieve that? So I'm going to say dot container. I'm going to use a pseudo element after container. So I'm going to say position. We are going to give it a content first, content and position absolute. I'm going to use absolute. Then we have top, zero, left, zero, height. I'm going to give it a height of 0, 100% a width of 0. So, and we're going to have a background color of RGBA 0, 0, 0, 0.6. So let's check it out. Okay, it's not showing yet. Let's give it 100%. Good. Exactly. So this is it now. This is what we want. So the overlay now is that. So we are done styling our background image. So what is the next thing now? The next thing we're going to do is what? To grab this content. So this is what we are grabbing now, our content. So we will say dot content. So let's give it a color first so that it will be visible. A color of white. So let's see it. So it has a color of white. But we discover that the white is not visible. Why? Because we're supposed to give it what? A position. We should have here a position relative. Let's give it a position relative. And then we have a Z index of 1. So let's see it now. Exactly. So this, our white background now has come out. So next what we're going to do now is what? We're going to say display flex flex direction follow. Justify content center. Align text center. Let's see what it is now. Exactly. So this is what we have now. Our text is centered in the middle, but it's at the top. So we want it to be in the middle of the web page. So that is at the center. So what do we do? So we're going to say give it a height of 100 keyboard height. Let's check it now. Exactly. So this is what we want. So the final thing we are going to do now is what? Our CTA button. So that's the final thing we'll be styling now. So, and how do we do that? We're going to grab it from here. So here is our class of CTA. So that's what we're going to be doing. So we're going to say dot CTA. So we're going to have a padding. Let's give it a padding of 20, 50, 20, 50. Background color of crimson. Give it a background color of crimson. So we have this already. So let's reduce this. This is 2B. Let's give it a 10. So I want to give this one 10. So I think this will be okay. So we're going to say give it a list time, list time of none. So list time of none, let's include A so that it will work. Okay, okay. So let's remove this process and see. So what we're going to do is what? We're going to give it a color of white. So I'm going to give it a margin of of 15 pixels. So this is what we want now. So um so what we are going to do now is what we are going to include the CTA and our a column of white. Let's do that now. Exactly. Can you see how it is now? So here we are going to give it a border radius of let's give it a 10 pixels, give it to 10 pixels. Okay, so we're going to give it this time. No, it will be decoration. No, exactly. So it has gone. So there's something we also need to fix time in our content. So we say the content C. So I'm going to give it a margin of of 10 pixels. Let's see the outcome exactly. So this is it. Now the last thing we're going to do is our over effect. So CTA dot over. So when I hover on it, I want the background color change of the darker color. So I'm going to change this color. Let's bring it down to this place. So let's see how it looks like. Can you see it now? So this is what we really want. So what we're going to do now is what to add a transition to it. Let's add a transition to it. Our transition is 0.5 seconds in and out. Exactly. So this is now what we have done with the HTML and CSS. So if you want to see this more of these tutorials again, you want to see them more and more and more,